MFs, welcome back. It's been like 3 weeks, way too long. Pledge from me, let's never ever do this again. I miss my family, my podcasting family. I miss our fans. I am so glad that we are back today. The world looks pretty much the same as it did the last time we were here. Dumbfuck is still in charge, but hopefully not for much longer. There really isn't shit else going on in the world. I really don't have a lot else to talk about today. I like to ramble, but I don't believe there's any sports being played. I don't think we've missed anything in the few weeks that we've been gone. Am I right, Dallas? Have I missed anything?
I think you might have. Yep. Check with Kyle. He might be able to help you with that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that Kyle, am I right? Am I wrong? Did we miss anything?
We are the new 2020 champions. The Lakers are back. We did it for Kobe. We did it for Laker Nation. We did it for the West Coast, not the East Coast.
Did that actually happen? I feel like that whole thing took place in a dream or something.
It was bubblicious. It was definitely bubblicious.
2020 asterisk.
No, you can't.
World champions, right?
This was probably the most grueling championship ever because one, you were in a bubble. You couldn't have friends and family.
You fucking kidding me?
You were pretty much,
I'm calling bullshit straight out.
You were
no
Corona
fucking
team.
way.
You were Corona
Most
team.
Grueling.
Yes, because again, you could not. They were on tour, but didn't go anywhere.
They were on tour. Isn't that the opposite of grueling? You called it bubblicious.
Yeah, because you were in a bubble and you couldn't have any licious. Your wife could come through.
That's all you had was licious. There was no travel.
You saw my man.
There were no distractions.
You could not go. Remember, my man got thrown out of the bubble because he had some licious with one of the people who did the swabs. Wore him out. Got him thrown out.
I don't think so.
And he was. She was already pure.
Calling bullshit. No. So no sports. So we agree then. No sports.
No, we have sports. Now today, Dodgers got wore out, I believe, yesterday in the Game 2 of the World Series. So this West Coast is real right now. The West.
I was gonna give you a shout out. Well, I don't know about that. I was gonna give you a shout out for your Dodgers. I'm my man Mookie Betts has definitely helped your team. I'm definitely happy for my former neighbor Joe Kelly. Hasn't played a huge role, but good to see him in Dodger Blue. And Clayton Kershaw, long time coming for him. He's kind of fallen apart in the postseason in the past.
Not game
He's
one.
He's been one of them regular season champion.
You gotta talk about the current, not the past.
Well, I'm saying I'm giving him a little shout out, a little love. I am a fan. I give you that one. I did want to bust your balls a little bit about your Lakers, but
you can't bust them when they are the champions. They're holding it. Miami ran out. They tapped out.
With the asterisk.
My man, he tried to drag it. He tried to come back. His plantar fasciitis did nothing for him. He was shooting terrible, but I give it to him. He was like, look, this is my last hurrah. Probably. Who knows if I ever get back here? Let me get out here and do something. And did nothing. But he left it on the wood. He played his heart out. Jimmy Butler, you got to tip your hat off to him. He played 47 minutes in game 4. He had nothing left in the tank.
I slept on Jimmy Butler up till the last couple of seasons too. I'll be honest. He was always solid. I never saw him becoming one of the top 3 players in the entire NBA. And he put that Heat team on his back and he dragged them all the way to the finals. I give him big props.
People slip on him in Chicago. He was a beast in Chicago.
No doubt.
They were sleeping on him. Dwight Howard, the silent killer. He came through and did his thing.
Stop. We still got beef about Dwight Howard.
Played his role as a role player. He was balling. Nobody said he was a starter. He was the position he had to play. He did his thing.
Largest fucking baby in the entire world. Yes,
Not
Dwight
this
Howard.
time around.
Got
Not
it.
this time around.
He was
Fucking 300 pound, 6'11", you know, with the finger roll because he doesn't know how to dunk. I'm just saying.
What? Okay.
You know that's true. You know that's true.
I have to mute myself on that one.
Oh, I'm just playing. Chris Lee, Brother Banks.
Hello.
It's good to see you, my friend.
It's good to be
It's good to see that breakfast cocktail.
Oh, it's happening.
I do think that for future, all of us are going to have cocktails just because, you know, I'm seeing Banks drinking and I'm feeling a little parched right about now.
You should have a beverage. I don't know why it's much later where you are right now, so it's kind of frowned upon where I'm at. Look at that. So you should have one.
I think I agree. If I disappear for 5 minutes in the middle of this today, it might be to pour myself a cocktail.
Nobody's judging. Nobody's judging.
Nobody.
I bought some Tito's last night too, so you should be happy about that.
Can you pour me one?
I can disappear for a minute and pour you one. We can work it out to try to pass through these airwaves.
Got it. I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, sure.
So in the time away, I do want to acknowledge none of us had the COVID.
No.
We weren't gone because of any issues like that.
Lungs are clear. Cough free.
I actually heard from a lot of people asking, you know, is everything okay? You know, when are you guys coming back? So I just want to reassure our listeners, we are here. We got a full slate for the next few weeks. We are going to be doing this. I think we are going to be doing once weekly and not twice weekly for the near term, as we also have some private engagement bookings, which I'm very proud to speak of. Ooh. And very excited for that. Look forward to speaking on a couple of college campuses with my podcasting co-hosts.
Virtual campuses.
Virtual campuses.
You know, the campuses are hot. The campuses are hot.
You know, phase two, here we come. We'll be doing it. We are excited. And I mean, what more is there to say? I will say this, okay? Today we are recording on October 22nd. The election is on November 3rd, which means we are right now 12 days away
from Christmas.
Now, everybody's talking about Biden's got this one. I'm not buying it. I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe it until it's a fucking landslide. So I want to remind everybody out there, don't forget to vote, please. Don't sleep. Don't think we got this one. Hillary thought she had this one too. It was 10 days out, actually 11, October 28th, that the Comey memo about Hillary's emails dropped. October 28th, prior to the November 8th election in 2016. And shit flipped upside down. Republicans ran away with it. Popular vote or no, Hillary has not been the president for the last 4 years, in spite of what Trump says at these fucking rallies that he keeps doing. And, I mean, faded glory is all it is for Trump at this point, in my opinion. I hope he goes away quietly, but I don't think that is going to happen. So I just want everybody out there to stay vigilant, to vote. Dallas, have you voted yet?
You know, I haven't, but I'm planning on going this week.
Banks?
No, I haven't even gotten my ballot yet.
What?
Yeah, I've gotten everything else. I've gotten my location of where my polling places is. I've gotten my look out for your ballot from the post. I got all the stuff, but I still haven't gotten my ballot yet.
I'm in the same
boat.
I went on the website to check to make sure I'm registered. Of course, I'm registered, voted, all that. I've checked everything.
But you can't get a ballot at the polling place and just fill it out there?
I'm sure I can. I still haven't got any information to show anything yet. Like, nothing. Usually the polling place is right across the street from my house. Like, it's a park. But I haven't gotten anything, so.
Well, we know there's some serious fuckery going on right now. I mean, there's no question that there's shenanigans going on behind the scenes. And Dear Leader is definitely doing everything he can to suppress the vote. I was talking to an associate named Jacob, Emily. You know who I'm talking about. I haven't even introduced you yet. I will in just a couple of minutes, but you know who I'm talking about. It was actually the day that we were in LA for that show a couple weeks ago. He tells me he got a voicemail, very cryptic, vote for Trump or else. Seriously, vote for Trump. And then we're hearing now about there's this whole email campaign going on. People are getting emails that say, vote for Trump or else. And some are saying it's some Proud Boys shit. But then I saw something that it was like some Islamic group that was trying. I don't even know what the fuck is going on with that shit anymore. All I know is there's some fucking bullshit going on, and we all just need to be aware of it. And we need to get to the polls, and we need to cast our ballots, and we need to vote.
Nice
Kyle,
while I
you
was
vote?
at the range. Nice while I was at the range.
Fuck you say?
I said nicey while I was at the range.
Kyle's ready to go to war.
I mean, I hope it don't come to that, but if it does, I guess I'm
won't
glad
miss.
that I'm glad.
I won't miss.
God, Jesus. Man, I'm just going to move away
hit
from
you
that
in the
one.
10 and with the 4-5.
Anyway.
I might even double tap you just to make sure you felt it twice.
Wow.
A little double tap.
It's a pro-gun, pro-NRA conversation now. We are,
Yeah, I'm just gonna move along. I'm just gonna keep it going. I don't even know how I feel about any of this. We've had these arguments about gun rights, and
Look, and again, I'm a brand new gun owner. I'm new as of March.
I am glad to know that you are.
Miss.
I am glad to know that you are preparing yourself. I'm glad to hear you are going to the range, that you are actually learning how to use your weapon. I still believe the presence of a weapon increases the likelihood of someone actually getting shot and killed. The absence of a weapon reduces the likelihood of somebody actually getting shot and killed. So
the presence of a weapon, if you walk into my house, means you get wore out.
Anyway. Moving on to music news. Favorite segue there. I mean, shit's still not happening.
Didn't you say anything about the flaming lips and the bubbles?
What is that now?
You know, the bubbles in Oklahoma.
That's their thing.
Well, it's their stage design.
You didn't see that? It's the only thing that's happening. It must have been miserable.
It's hot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to go with all this shit. Like, we're seeing the drive-in concerts.
Was cool. He was good.
Yeah. Ask the Lakers.
Talking about?
Ask the Lakers what it's like to be in a bubble.
And that bubble-ish, you said it's nothing. You said it's easy. You said it's a walk in the park. Concert bubbles.
Right. But there were no fans at the Laker games.
I know they were virtual fans. It was terrible. That virtual fan look was
on
terrible.
Screen at one of the games. Anybody else see this?
I saw that.
But I don't think that that's the future. I hope that that's not the future.
It's not. It can't be. It was disconnected, connected.
No, California. We just had a ruling from our great governor that now sports teams can have audiences up to something. I forgot what the percentage was. And they're going to create these pods, like your family pods.
Oh, I get to go to my sit in my seat.
You can go sit in your seat.
I mean, it's not unlike what the NFL has been doing all along so far, right? I mean, the NFL
California, we haven't had any audiences.
I mean, Kansas City,
some states are, some states exactly what I'm saying.
25,000.
Kansas City,
California's 20%.
20%. There it is.
20% for California.
The one actual show I saw in terms of live event with audience that got announced on Polestar this week was 3-6 Mafia going to be performing at Rupp Arena in Kentucky on December 11th. 15% capacity.
What?
Venue is regulated. 21,017 is official.
It's already sold out.
They're going to put 3,150 tickets on sale.
Oh God.
Are you saying you've already heard it sold out, Dallas?
I was just making the joke. I know nothing about this. But Kentucky Rump Arena?
I mean, it's on University
And
of
3-6
Kentucky
Mafia?
campus.
Who gives a fuck about 3-6 Mafia?
It all
Whoa.
sounds like a raging good time.
It's gonna be a good show.
I bet it sells out.
It
It's
will.
definitely
I bet
sell
because
out.
nobody has
3-6
shit else to
Mafia?
do.
I think people are scared to go anywhere, especially
and
in Kentucky.
3-6 Mafia?
But I wouldn't go out anywhere.
Those
They
motherfuckers,
shoot people
they
there
elect
for no reason.
fucking Mitch McConnell. Like, those fucking idiots go out without masks all the time. Like, no disrespect to our Kentucky fans. But
Breonna Taylor.
exactly.
It's gonna be real. It's gonna be real.
Anyway, one of our more chaotic reopenings. Shit. I do want to ask my co-hosts here, and Kyle and Chris in particular. So Live Nation has been taking some serious steps towards expanding their diversity, and Sean G has led the way on this Black Tour directory. I don't know if either of you have seen it. I flipped through it, and neither of you two are in there. What the fuck?
My information was presented.
Yeah.
I think that's some serious bullshit.
Well.
I presented the information, and it was presented twice. One by me, one by another gentleman. So I can't call it. And again, I don't give two fucks anyway. None of them have ever got me a gig from day one. So I do my own press. I do my own self. I do my own. I'm tired right now.
Do your own bookings.
Yeah, I book my own shit.
Yeah.
I promote myself,
Here's
your own
my
agent.
question, though. Like, we had Bill and Casey from Roadies of Color on here a few weeks ago. And one of their major initiatives was creating this master directory.
But
Like,
that's not the
does this
same
shit
one. That's a different one.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like, does this step on their toes? Does this, take anything away from them? Is this beneficial to their process?
So I haven't
detrimental?
I haven't seen that particular one that you're talking about from Sean G. How many people were in there roughly of engineers that you know?
I mean, what I saw, very few. Honestly, it was like what you would put together in a couple of days to say that you were starting something, but it wasn't a complete directory. I assume it's a work in progress. I assume it will be a document that evolves over time, because the idea being, as more and more people come into the industry and more of them are qualified and reach a certain level, that they should get their opportunity and they should be included. But I mean, when I'm looking at two veterans right now who are not there, it definitely begs questions.
And you can't say we're hard to find. I mean, Chris was nominated for a Parnelli Award. I won a Parnelli Award. Hell, if nothing else, we should definitely have been on the forefront of that shit, just because of what we've accomplished. So to have a bunch of random names, again, it's just to say we did it. They ain't no putting no real effort to try to figure stuff out. It's not hard to find us. We know everybody.
Yeah, and I honestly think there's definitely a breakdown in the chain, because Keith McPhee was one of the people that was reaching out to engineers directly and trying to gather names and create his own database to send to this. And I know he gathered credible people who were actually working and got their information and sent it all in. So,
well, Keith was in there. I did see Keith in there.
Yeah.
But again, it was a small list, and I hope to see it expanded. I look forward to seeing. It
sounds good on paper.
There are 22 production managers listed. That's it. I can tell you on one hip hop festival, 7 times that number. So
seriously, right?
Yeah.
Well, you heard her voice. It's about time we bring her in.
Hey guys.
Again, kind of a haphazard intro today. I apologize. I don't apologize. Fuck it. I am glad to be back with my podcasting family. I look forward to doing this more. I love that we're actually using Google Meet now so we can be looking at each other. I do think that tech support, if you can hear me, maybe we really should start actually recording these and
No.
putting this out.
Yes.
No, I see Dallas saying no.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I can
You know,
appreciate that our
behind
guests
the
might not.
scenes.
I mean, look, I'm the one nobody needs to look at, and I'm the one saying that
Oh, you
Thank
see
you.
this?
paparazzi
Yeah, thank
Did
you,
you-
Sam. No.
You
No,
know,
Sam.
live stream it.
live stream. Shit, I do. I mean, anywho. So, our guest today is no stranger to any of us here, and she's probably no stranger to a lot of our listeners. She is a native Australian, although I know at least one person who might dispute that. She got her
God
start.
damn.
What? Picking fights already. Got her start at Future Music Festival in, I believe, in Sydney. It's in Sydney, right?
It's
She spent about 6 years there, touring Australia, New Zealand, Asia. She was the national touring coordinator and head of artist relations, working with the likes of the Stone Roses, the Prodigy, and Drake. She has since moved to Los Angeles, California, where she is the director of event production at BWG Live. She's also the director of operations at WYH. We will talk about all of these initials and more as the program proceeds. Today, she is a total badass. She is much like her associate, who we had on the program once before, Meg Dieter, fellow badass, much like our very own Christine Dallas. Always important to highlight the amazing badass women in this business. For other young women coming up, they need to see strong women in these positions of leadership for them to have a chance to earn those jobs in the future. We hope that she is doing her part in bringing other women along. We know that she is because we've all been to the festivals that she runs, and there are any number of strong women coming up working behind the scenes on them. Among those festivals, she is the festival director at Something in the Water.
was.
I definitely want to hear if that is going to happen this year. She just said was. I don't know what that means, so perhaps she can tell us. Her name, Emily May Ockenden. Welcome to the program.
Hi, guys.
What do you mean was?
We no longer work with Something in the Water. Live Nation handles it entirely. So I do know the production team on it, and they are incredible. No bad blood or anything there. It's more. It started as a 3-company event in its formation, and Live Nation does it wholly now. So from what I understand, they will be back next year. Their lineup this year was incredible, but I am not part of it. They do have a very strong female on it, though. They have another very strong female. So,
well, I'm glad to hear that. I am. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear you won't be there. I don't know if I'm going to be there. I was gonna be there this past April. Didn't happen, obviously. We will see what comes with this next. But
everybody was gonna be there.
That is a loss to them. I am sure.
It's a very fun event. It's on my birthday, so. That first one was a riot. Literally a riot. We didn't.
Chris, tell us about that. What are you saying, Chris? What's this agreement?
Tell us. It was wet.
It was wet. Remember the first day got rained out? It was chaotic. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
I do remember that, actually.
Yeah.
I remember having a bitch of a time trying to get artists in because the Norfolk Airport was shut down there. And we were trying to fly people to Richmond, and we had people that were taking a flight to DC and then getting picked up by a car service, or one person I think took a train out of New York.
Drove from DC.
Yeah.
Like shit was fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, our artist transportation had a hell of a time that day.
As long as you didn't have to stay at the hotel I had to stay in, you should be happy.
Where did you stay?
Yeah, where were you?
We were in this lovely hotel that was on the strip. I don't think in the entire tour we spent that much money on a hotel room per night. Honestly, you had to wear your socks when you took a shower.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the biggest problem with that festival, or one of the biggest problems, was the lack of hotel rooms in the market, which was because I remember we started trying to get our rooms early for the act that I was coming in with, and we were only able to get a handful of them, and we ended up getting, a suite and a few rooms at one place, and then a few more rooms at another place, and then we had like a fucking... what do you call it when you stay in a house? An Airbnb. I ended up staying in an Airbnb. It was the first and I hope the only fucking time I stayed in an Airbnb for a festival because it was fucked up. It was definitely not good.
There was a convention, like a Christian convention or something.
No, it was like a fraternal sorority weekend.
Yes,
whoop-the-daisy thing.
Because that's a big thing in that area. You're right.
Yeah, but exactly. It was like their spring break.
There was also like some type of like convention like some Mormon convention happening. Right? Am I wrong, Emily?
You're not wrong.
There were Mormons in our hotel, like full on
that was the
Mormons.
Friday night.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually split the convention center in half, and Something in the Water got part of it, and then the female religious group had a 3-day convention on the other side of the convention center.
Yes.
Right?
Well,
there was a lot going on in town, and you're right, Christine. There was not a lot of hotel accommodation to hold people on a normal
I didn't
day.
even know about this female Mormon convention thing. That's
it was
some crazy.
Thing.
Were you there with them, Chris?
No.
Come on now.
How is your wig?
No,
because we know I'm Chris is the production manager to God. I don't know if you knew that, Emily. We've had this conversation a couple of times.
Wow,
Chris
lucky.
this is some shit. Like, my resume doesn't hold a candle to Chris because Chris has God as a fucking client on his resume. Kyle, back me up. The Luya.
I concur. There's full Luya.
There it is.
You can't play with him.
I don't know if those words can go together.
Which ones?
Well,
God
see, when
is a fucking client.
Well, here's the thing. One of God's childs coined that word, so it works all together.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Emily looks confused. Emily,
I'm trying to piece this together. I'm like Morgan Freeman because he's always the voice of God. Or
oh no. Oh no. He's talking about actual God.
Actual God, right? Okay.
The deity.
I think Kyle was talking about me.
No, he was saying. The 11th commandment. Oh, thou shalt not quail audio. Oh.
No, thou shalt.
What is he? Where are these texts coming from?
In the chat.
Sam is
what chat am I missing?
Are you not seeing the chat?
Well, Chris,
I'm seeing these like bubbles pop up and then disappear.
Up in the top
Some
right-hand
creepy
corner,
shit.
There's a chat button, and it will open your chat section.
Chat with everyone.
I was trying to configure.
There
myself.
it is.
Oh.
That's some creepy shit.
What did you just do? I lost Emily.
I did too.
Oh,
there she is.
She started playing with her tiles.
No, the chat.
Now you're muted.
The chat also kicked me out.
Oh.
All right, stop fucking with the chat. Good grief.
I was like, oh.
It's crazy.
I've moved.
No, she's in the same spot.
It's all right, Matt, you're still in the center.
Unmute yourself.
I'm in the center. I got Chris in the center.
Christine, unmute yourself in Zencaster.
Hollywood Squares.
Christine is muted in Zencaster now?
That's what it says.
She is.
But I'm supposed to be.
No,
because you're talking.
God, I hope you haven't been muted the whole time.
No.
That'd be some shit. Dallas gonna have to go back in. Little Venetian Aquatic Club.
Ugh.
Filling in some.
You're back now.
Oh, I unclicked her.
Okay, That's what it was. It was him.
You did it, Matt.
No. I unmuted her.
Oh.
I did not mute her in the first place. I don't even have the Zencaster screen up because I don't want to touch it while we're recording. It's better to just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Use your Google. And we're giving away all our behind-the-scenes secrets now.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what the fuck are these people talking about? I don't know either.
I'm sorry. I just saw it and I was like, wait a minute. You're talking and you're muted. Hold on.
I'm glad you saw it. I hope she hasn't been muted the whole damn time.
She's lip syncing.
Sam, we're definitely deleting this section.
Sam says we're definitely deleting. Sam, stop fucking texting us. We're not deleting. This is us, okay?
Well,
this
it's
is how
wrong,
we
'cause
do.
I the one who edits this bitch, so it's gonna stay in.
Exactly. I don't know. This is the gold right there. This
We're
is
so
who we are.
tech-savvy.
Oh, I'm not. I am the least tech savvy person I know.
That is true.
That's why I have Sam. Anyway,
Waiting for
moving
Sam to
on. So, Emily, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
We're usually much more succinct in terms of like, let's get into this, tell us about yourself, blah, blah, blah. I guess this whole new format with us looking at each other just lends itself to a little more tomfoolery.
Agreed.
Sam,
really not.
you kidding me?
Sam
All right,
from
let's
the
get-
sidelines.
So
Sidelight Sam in the building.
So we were talking about this festival that had this exciting year last year that happened to coincide with a major hurricane.
Moisture in the water.
Well, that was 2 years ago because last year it didn't even happen.
You called it moisture
I'm
in the
talking-
water.
sorry.
We called it drowning in the water.
When I say last
Drowning
year, I
into
mean
water.
2019, right?
It was
Well,
last
actually,
year.
so that was
So that
last
was
year.
last year.
It was 2019. It was last year.
Yeah, exactly.
It
I don't
didn't
know what
happen
Matt's
this
talking about.
year.
okay.
because-
Right,
Correct.
right. So this year it didn't happen. Got
But it was
got
ironic.
That's true.
The name lent to some heavy, interesting.
Yeah, it was
ironic
definitely
Mother
something in the
Nature
water.
moments.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Jaws.
Something in the water, something in the air, something everywhere. But we survived it,
Just.
mostly.
Barely.
Rona in
there's-
the water.
There was a
They're
moment. I remember one. Well, I'll stay out of that. But that was interesting. I had an interesting moment.
There were a lot of moments at that one. There were a
There-
lot of moments.
there really should've
Now
been
actually,
cameras.
here's the important moment that I remember, Emily. So there was this Sony thing going on backstage
Oh.
where they were bringing everybody in. Dallas, you and I went into this thing together, right? And they were having everybody take on this whole audio experience, surround, yada, yada, bullshit.
And then you get
And-
a pair of headphones.
Except we didn't get them. And they said, we're sending them to you. And they never sent them. Those motherfuckers.
Wow.
Nothing. And that
They
was
were-
Sony, right?
That was Sony.
It was
That's a Sony
Sony.
activation. Yeah. I know.
So, Emily-
I know the box you're talking about. I watched them build it. The headphones
So
were
we're-
on site.
We're counting on you to actually get them for us still, okay?
Okay, I got you. I got you. All right. Let me go back through my emails.
In
Now that
fact,
now that I've
why don't
pulled
you
them
get one
out.
for all of us and get an extra pair for yourself?
Thanks. I like my Bose. Sorry, Sony.
It's funny, I actually just replaced my Bose with a new set of Sony because Sony got like best noise canceling and best audio. And when they're working, they're amazing. Like the noise canceling is unparalleled. It is better than Bose by a mile. However, they cut in and out. They don't work as well. They are not as consistent. It does piss me off.
Can't be having that.
And you can't have them on as many devices, which is why we're using AirPods instead of them today, because I can only have them set up on so many devices,
That's
which is weird.
Fascinating. Let's go back to Emily. Let's talk about Emily.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, Emily, when Matt describes what you do, how would you describe what you do?
Oof.
There it is.
What I do now?
Yeah, in a nutshell, like you, because you've been at it for what? How many years would you say overall?
34 minus 18.
We didn't have to
15,
reveal
16
that.
years?
Yeah, there you go.
15, 16 years?
Yeah, and you've done it in several countries, and
Yeah.
now you're here, in the States. And I think obviously, why do we come here? Because there are more shows theoretically coming out of here than anywhere else. But obviously, as we all know, there are a few females in the business, and there are a few that do particularly what you do, and I think that's interesting. So why don't, if you could, like, share what your job involves, not just obviously the heavy equipment that it could involve, and some of the aesthetics as well as the pragmatic parts.
Sure. Matt kind of reeled off my synopsis of my life in the industry. I definitely started in the artist world in Australia, and I kind of got pigeonholed in that I had an incredible mentor of a production manager in Australia. Shout out Martin Rudder, who taught me a lot about production, and that's what I wanted to move into. So I ran away and joined the circus over here. Working at Future was super helpful because we were a very small company handling a lot of different events, a lot of different tours. And in Australia, we tour our music festivals, unlike in America where you have them once or one location over 2 weekends. So we would build the same festival on different scales in 7 states in Australia, in New Zealand, and in Asia. And then everyone would jump on planes from all over the world, come down and kind of party with us for 3 weeks across all these events, which meant that I got insight into all aspects of the event, from the artist side to designing the stages, to contracting the artists, to generally how the budget works, because I was the touring coordinator. My hands were on everything. So that, as I've grown in the industry and as I've moved over here, has meant that I've worked my way up to now not being the coordinator. I'm now on a lot of projects the festival director, which is far less glamorous than people think, and means I don't really spend time with artists at all. I spend majority of my time playing with numbers and trying to make sure that however much the promoter's putting in on the money side, we're not spending all of it so they can make something on the back end when they sell the tickets. I do get to spend a lot of time kind of in the build up to the festival designing the overall aesthetic of the event. We have to involve all the safety and security elements, as well as kind of what people are looking for from production to design the entire show. And that, I guess, along with all my incredible department heads that work alongside me, is my job, is to take someone's idea, whether it's a single buzzword, an artist that they love that they want to build the show around, or whether it's a reoccurring event that's been happening for a long time and they've just moved festival directors or partner companies to a different production company. My job is to come in and make sure every one of those elements, the design, the artist lineup, and the budget, all work effectively to produce a great show that makes money at the end, but the crowd also loves.
So, Emily, I got 2 related questions for you, actually, in terms of the differences between the Australasia world and the US market. First of all, I mean, can you give us a simple compare and contrast? What makes it different? And then second of all, in terms of this touring festival model that you refer to, I mean, every artist I've ever sent down there, I mean, they fucking love it. Why isn't that done in the US?
That's a good question. Contrast comparison, we will never have. I say we will never have. I haven't lived there in 6.5 years now. And from what I've seen, what I had seen happening in festivals in Australia until the entire industry fell apart a couple of years ago, was production was heading to be towards kind of the level we have here. One of my major reasons for leaving was you do the same venues and the same stage build on the same sites on every show, year in, year out. And it wasn't really growing or expanding. So I wanted to see better pyrotechnics, and I wanted lighting and video rigs that were cybertronic, and we don't have that in Australia. So I moved here because shows here are consistent and the acts are here permanently, and there's hundreds and hundreds of festivals for enough production vendors to kind of make their money off. So designers keep designing bigger and better, and the budgets work that the production can be bigger versus how much people are having to spend, like to produce the production that the big headliners wanted to bring to Australia just got too much. Like, it was nearing impossible levels to bring a headliner with their production and make the ticket cost anything less than like $350 per show, which in Australia comparatively had never been seen before. So it was kind of ruining the market. That's why I moved, and that's probably the biggest difference between the two, is that we're ever evolving and ever expanding here, where there really is kind of a ceiling in Australia for where you can go before it becomes too expensive.
Do you associate that? Sorry to interrupt you, but do you associate that with the cost of, like, the basic cost of staffing is far greater there than it is in the U.S.? I mean, you get hit here for percentages that might go to like IAs and stuff, but in reality, the person may not get that amount. But I do think in Australia, it's a higher, average wage that could affect the bottom line.
I mean, I definitely think, I think there were a lot of different kind of budget line items that started to affect the Australian market. There's the fact that as soon as an artist is on their second round tour into Australia, they want a 25% higher payment than the first time they toured. And when you're looking at, say, some of the headliners we were touring on Future Music, Drake, Avicii, Hardwell, they're $1 million artists to bring them to Australia, like almost hitting $1 million per show. And if they're doing 18 shows, whilst the headline shows might be on a versus deal and they're recouping money, when it comes to the festival, you can't do the only way you can pay an artist on a music festival is a flat deal. And so the crowd doesn't want to see the same artists. They want new artists coming through, and the artists become more and more expensive when they're coming through on their second time. The lineup starts costing $20, $25, $26 million to tour 13 festivals. And then you've got how much our staff wages cost. And then you've got the fact that these artists are coming from American production and they want to bring their American production with them. So we were starting to have to 6 months out put stages on boats and bring them to Australia to physically have the production that they needed. And it started to, at the same time, Australia was economically not having its finest moment. People didn't have the money to be paying $250 to $350 per ticket for music festivals, which is what the ticket prices had to start increasing to be able to cover the costs of these artists and of that production. So I think there were a lot of reasons why, and I don't know how many people, Christine, I'm sure you do, but how many other people know that the Australian festival market doesn't really exist anymore for anything over a 20,000 person show. And Future in its peak was doing 50 to 70,000 people, and we physically, like Australia at the moment, physically can't do that anymore. Do I wish America had touring festivals? Hell yeah.
So, but the first question, I mean, I'm glad you just said that, but the first question is, why don't we?
Why don't you? I mean, there's 5, well, there were, some don't exist anymore, but probably like 5 major touring festivals and companies in Australia, and that was it. Little boutique events popped up here and there in single states, but in order to make a festival profitable in Australia, you couldn't do it once if you had international talent. It had to tour to feasibly make the show profitable and to get the artist to come to you. Because whilst an LA to Sydney flight is 14 hours direct, if you're one of my English talent flying in, you're not flying for 36 hours through Dubai to come and play one show in one state and then leaving. So the touring festival had to exist in order to get the talent to come to you and to make it profitable on both sides, for the artist and for the festival. In America, you don't need to do that, and you've also got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of festivals. There are a couple that go multi-location. There's a couple of college festivals that do multi-location, but I think travel in America is easier. Travel in America is cheaper. So if you want to go to a festival that's on the opposite coast, you could just get on a plane and you fly over to it. You turn it into a holiday. Australia doesn't look at festivals like that, nor did we ever get the chance to look at it like that, because they always existed as a touring festival, because they physically had to, because of the monetary issue with artists. So I don't think it's something that has to happen in America. It's easier. It's a lot easier not to be a touring festival. It's super fun, but like, it's exotic to come to Australia and travel around 5 states. It's not exactly exotic to be like, hey, we're going to throw you on an American touring festival. You're going to go to Arkansas, Kentucky, Michigan, and like spontaneity. Let's do Montana because it's pretty. No one wants to do that. Whereas you come to Australia and it's like you've got Perth on one coast, you've got Melbourne, which is like the hub of you're getting the best food, you're getting air, like you're getting environment that people haven't seen before, and you get a week off in the middle. So it's like our artists in the middle on the week off would go to the Whit Sundays or they go to Byron Bay. Where America's too big, and it's like, what are you going to tour? Different belts of America have different music preferences. Like it's not as feasible, and also financially you don't need to.
And who knows, maybe that may be that's what we'll see next, is the next chapter here in the US, because Live Nation's now owning all the festivals, so the uniqueness that once was doesn't exist anymore either, which is kind of like the unfortunateness of the journey we're on here. But anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just selfish, but I want to see kind of the hybrid that's somewhere between the original Lollapalooza touring model and the large-scale festival model, where a festival can play like the Northwest, the Southwest, the Midwest, the South, the Northeast, and like 6 regional
Miami, Portland,
festivals over
Boston.
6 weekends in 6
Yeah.
geographic regions, and move the same show and the same production and the same, 20 acts or so, and just make it that fucking 6-week party that you're talking about.
That's what Rolling Loud is. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they were trying to do.
But we are
Rolling
not in
Loud.
this. We are not in the space of 3 weeks. I mean, what we do with Rolling Loud is over the whole year.
Well, it's also different lineups each time, and I'm talking about consistency.
Lollapalooza is a good comparative. The South America Lollapalooza tour, that's
right.
cool.
Well, again, that takes the original Lala model and takes it to a country where they do effectively what I'm talking about. I'm saying, why can't we do, again, maybe I'm beating a dead horse. I'm frankly wishing to be a part of moving one of those festivals over the course of an entire summer from, geographic region to region.
Like Warped.
I think there's a model for that. Like
Warped.
Right.
Tour.
Yeah.
But on a slightly more sophisticated level, I suppose, just because everything on Warped is intentionally done on the cheap, which is super cool the way they do it and the way they kept it affordable for fans. I mean, again, I guess it all factors into creating that right hybrid model. What's the next Warped?
Yeah.
We're going to see more of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Australia
could never be a bus tour, at least in America.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, but even America is pretty big if you're talking 4 quarters, 4 corners. It becomes,
it becomes
a long way to go.
Becomes a fly fest as well. I mean, except for the Sydney to Perth leg, where we just chartered a 747 and everyone had to get on it.
That's always fun.
It was only 8 business class seats, and everyone thinks they're a superstar. It's great.
Yeah. Too good.
Got it. All right. So moving on, I suppose. So, I mean, let's stay with the festivals. Let's put you on the spot. What's your favorite festival in the world and why?
Oof. Favorite festival I've been to?
Yeah, to work or play.
Been to, worked,
Both
you tell
sides.
me.
Both, yeah.
Sides.
Both.
Most exciting festival I've been to and seen was Exit Festival, Serbia. Just because I never thought I'd go to a music festival in Serbia. That was pretty wild. Favorite festival to work? Anyone that's listening is going to punch me in the face when I say I cannot help working Rolling Loud.
Which one?
Any of them. I'm a sucker for punishment. I love working on Rolling Loud. I love the guys. I love the chaos of it. But Cal Jam, the first year we did it, was probably one of the greatest shows I've worked on with our whole BWG team. That was pretty special. We love Sam Management, who we work with. I love the Foo Fighters as an act, and they were an amazing act to work with. So America-wise, that's probably the number one festival in America I've worked on that I enjoyed. And the number one festival I've been to elsewhere would be Serbia, Exit Festival.
What's the genre?
Heavy metal.
Okay.
That must be wild there.
Yeah, it was incredible. Everyone. I went and watched the Prodigy. It was cool.
What about you, Dallas? Favorite festival? What do you got? Putting you on the spot.
To go to or to work?
You tell me.
I mean, it's a tough one. I do when I go to the Ziggit Fest, I'm always impressed with that one somehow. There's something
Which
about
one's that?
That's the one in Budapest.
Budapest.
Yes.
Oh, I like Budapest.
And it's on an island in the Danube. And the way they do it is pretty fantastic. And their backstage is absolutely amazing with the restaurant that they have there. It's pretty nice. But no, it's just it's really neat. To work, I mean, as of late, I love Rolling Loud because they remind me of things I was very much involved with many years ago. And I enjoy the ethos and like you said, the chaos. I do wish some of anyway, yeah. It's a good time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We've had some good times out there.
Yeah, we come up against challenges.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know in the States. It's funny because they're either too polished, not, I don't know. Well, you don't know why they're doing it. You get from the working side, I find we get there and we're kind of like, what was your thinking? And Astrofest, my God, is that not brilliant or what? But
yeah,
that's special. That's another level of special.
That is a special one.
Because the crowd is incredible. And that's what that's what I miss. Like that's the biggest handicap I think of this year is not seeing, when you're lucky enough to work for some amazing artists and you see the rabid, crazy fanship, I got to say, I miss the sound. I miss the crazies. I miss the people who just love the music so much and are just all wrapped up in whatever the artist is delivering. That kind of insanity is just the hardest thing to figure out how to get back in your system. Like if that's a drug, I don't know where to get my fix. And that's been the roughest thing about this year, I think, or one of them.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, everybody shows up, they have their uniqueness. I do think Europe ends up being quite amazing because they've been doing it longer than the rest of us, and when you go to Roskilde and also because even in the massiveness, they still keep it small, and Smuckfest. I don't know if you've been to Smuckfest, but that one's amazing. That stage that you play on there, the headliner is the tiniest little postage. Yeah, it's a tiny little stage. And they got the little
That's the one with
people.
the little Ewok village.
Yeah.
And
they've got
the side-by-side ping pong
the treehouse
stages.
VIP.
The treehouse VIP.
Yeah. Word. And then they have the little guy that's like the elf of the forest, and they have a special rum that they make there. This is all in Denmark. Sorry, it's all in Denmark. So they have all this like Danish folklore about it. It's brilliant. If you ever plan on,
in the forest, like you're
it's
deep
incredible.
in the forest.
And they're so green. I mean, they're incredibly green. That's the other part of it. This phenomenon. Oh, who did we see?
I love that about the
Scandinavian
Scandinavian festivals
remember
in general.
You saw your favorite
yes,
artist,
I was going to bring that up when we saw I don't know if it was Millie or Vanilli.
I don't
but
either.
When Jen, she was super pregnant. She was walking us around the forest, and we were standing out watching Millie or Vanilli, and it was. And remember, I'm not even going to say his name, but brother of the manager, who is the dumb fuck on tour, got arrested backstage, and I had to fucking talk the police into not taking him away.
Yep.
No, wait.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you missed that.
Happened.
You missed that.
No. I remember that, but I don't remember Milli Vanilli. I remember.
Because they weren't on that stage. They weren't on that. There was a little.
We saw the Whalers were next to us.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's right. Because they do. That's those two small stages that are next to each other.
Whalers.
Yeah. Yeah, but they have other stages there. It's fascinating. It's a wild.
I don't remember
this
the
is a lineup in Denmark.
The Smugfest lineup.
We went
the Smugfest lineup is incredible.
Wow. It's amazing.
Incredible. Yeah, and
that
the
was
artists love playing it.
It's in the middle of the forest. Front house is literally in a tree house.
Yes.
And it's like carved out of wood. You can like go. There's people sleeping like in the trees. Like it's unreal.
So peeing everywhere.
Yeah. What about Osheaga?
Oh my goodness!
Osheaga.
Oh yeah, up in Canada, Oswego. Yeah, that's dope. That's a great one. Yeah.
Well, now if you want to talk about an amazing setting, though, you got to talk about in fucking Alabama on the beach.
Oh yeah,
Golf Shores,
Hang Fest,
Hang out. Now
festival.
I'm not going to tell you that that's the best festival that I've been to, but sitting in that compound late at night with your feet in that sand that's like confectionery sugar. It is like it's like the softest sand I've ever walked on in my life. It really was. And that is fucking cool. In terms of idyllic, just looking out at the ocean, you can't really beat that. I'm saying.
Very spring break forever.
Forever.
Is that one of yours? Were you on that, Emily?
I am not on Hangout. I dearly love the people that do Hangout Festival, but no.
That's what's his name? Former Fish guy. Production manager. Who's production manager on that?
You're not talking about Haddon Hipsley?
Yeah, Haddon works for what's his name? Why am I getting this wrong?
I don't know.
I got to look this up.
I don't know why.
I was like, I know the guys that site build, not the production team.
I remember New Era, the promoter that started it many years ago.
I was like, the hats.
Who are no more.
Why am I getting confused? I'm confusing myself now.
Because you've been out of work lately.
Yeah.
Seriously, right? That's bullshit.
You're rusty.
It's hard. It's hard
Seriously.
to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is Haddon. Maybe that is who I'm thinking.
I mean, Haddon Hipsley, if you're saying fish, he was famous.
Right, because he was the one who produced all their big fish festivals in Miami and in Maine and Vermont in the early days.
He was a production manager for many years. Right? Yeah.
Yes,
many years,
that must be what I'm thinking.
And now it's Jesse Sandler. Another awesome.
But I do want to give a shout out, like you said, Dallas, to all those Scandinavian festivals. Their greening initiatives, the way they really embrace the environment,
and the amount of women that work. It's very fair. You got female riggers, female everything. There's no in between. Heavy equipment drivers, fork, the whole bit, and they're lovely.
Ping pong,
it's so dope. Yeah.
Kyle, jump in. We haven't heard from you in a minute. What do you think?
I don't like festivals.
He likes to wash his hands. He doesn't like to walk in the dirt.
I don't like all the people running around.
Not enough of a controlled environment for you.
Fucking up my shoes, all the dust. I'm cool.
Messing up his watch.
I mean, there's something to be said, though. So Kyle's out at front of house. And, of course, some of these festivals, it gets fucking crazy out there. Yeah. And, I mean, just touring Europe in general, the floor of some of these arenas get just so stuffed with people being at front of house.
Stepping over people, especially if there's no tea.
Or if
I'm good.
GA.
Seriously, right?
Yeah.
If it's general admission, I'm good.
So some of these bigger festivals across Europe in particular, I feel you. I understand where you're coming from. The lack of control, that feeling of being in the middle of the chaos, it can be a little fucked up.
And you get
I'm good. And you get stuck
out there. Yeah.
You have to go to front of house an hour and a half before you're set, because if you don't, you won't get to front of house. It's a wrap.
Something to be said for that. Nobody said Coachella. No. Come on.
No.
No, I mean,
I like Coachella. Every time I like Coachella. Why?
No.
I think it's laid out well. I think they do a good job of moving people around. I think they've got a pretty good system back there. I think they've got good people in a number of positions. A lot of strong women. It's where I met Meg. She was, a total badass when I worked with her. Dallas, come on. What do you say? Why are you shaking your head?
I like Coachella at dusk. Twilight at Coachella.
It's a stunning venue.
It's beautiful.
Yes. Stunning venue.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's a stunning venue. I just think it's like many large festivals in the United States, it's a real challenge to get the communication to the staff on the ground for like security or, just simple passageways back and forth. I mean, having been unfortunately on the bad end of that more often than not with reputable artists and with all the right people who all know all the right people. I mean, all the people in charge are incredible. But I think that the biggest challenge for large festivals in the US particularly, especially with pay scales and qualifications and so on and so forth, I just think they run into a real problem when it comes to some of that basic ground support, and running 24-hour shifts. You can show up in the morning with a headliner and you're coming in one way and then suddenly nobody knows how to get out of there that night, and you're literally walking. Like you're with the crew, you're with a headlining act on a main stage, and now you're walking out of the venue because nobody knows how to get you out of there. I mean, come on, it's, I think it's a challenge, but I don't think it's not because of people aren't trying. I just think that that is like one of the biggest challenges that we have, with that really on the ground support. How can you
Nobody ever
afford
knows anything.
How do you
exactly
afford that many staff?
to train them properly? I mean, it's a real handicap, and I think it shows, unfortunately, more often than not. Because we often too, we're in the exchange of different shifts of, a shift is changing, and something that might have been one way for many hours is different time of day, but we always end up with the brunt of it instead of like feeling like, oh, look, everybody knows what's going on. Instead, it's kind of like a fight. You're like, oh my God, and now you're exhausted and you really want to shower, and that's really all you're thinking about, and somehow you can't get off the site, because.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a challenge for many events, but particularly that one, it seems I've been on the bad end of that.
And then it's just there's so many egos. It's just there's so many posers. Like a European festival, like what you say, Christine. It touched me when you talked about just feeling that drug of the energy with the people and people who love the artists and who are just hanging on to every word, and this is what they've thought about all year long. You get that in Europe and across the sea. You don't get that here in the States, unfortunately.
Well,
That
that's a
energy.
fan thing, right? You're
Yeah,
talking
that's what
about
I'm
the
saying.
fans now.
The
Because when
fans.
you mentioned egos, I mean, as if you're talking about all of the people that are
No,
backstage at
people
Coachella and
too.
in
People
VIP
too.
and what. But in Europe, there's a whole nother appreciation for just music and art as a cultural thing. I mean, it's just different.
But even the people working too, like even the people working just have a different sense of appreciation for what they're doing. They value what they're doing. Some people you run into, it's just like they have this sense of entitlement, like I'm doing this and, I don't care what you say,
Right.
it's like, wait a minute, it's different.
Okay. Okay. So, Emily, along similar lines, actually, that last statement, I suppose, when you're hiring into these key positions for a festival, and I was originally going to ask this on the artist side, so I guess I'm curious both ways. Like, as a director of festivals, as somebody who does a lot of the hiring, like, what are you looking for in the people that you're bringing on board for these key positions? And similarly, when you're engaging with the talent, what are the traits of like the great production managers, tour managers, et cetera, that you're dealing with?
Hiring wise, it's personality is always a big part. Obviously, you have to have the resume to back up the position you're applying for, but personality and sort of an inclusive mentality is a really big thing. I find, and I think we all come across it, we get it on the artist production tour manager side. And look, I've done it myself. You're on show 492 and you haven't had a day off, and you're like, we with the jerk side will come out, and you can't help being snappy because we haven't slept, because our job does mean we don't sleep a lot, and we are up against 400 kids backstage at Coachella that shouldn't be there, and a security shift changeover, and we just we're in the position that we feel like we are the tour manager or production manager, or in roles I've been in, the festival director or something. Someone should be listening to you. It's like, this is the headline artist, I'm their tour manager, I've advanced this correctly, and you're still screwing up. Like, just listen to me. And you can't help letting that out. And don't get me wrong, I'm a shocker at it, and I will apologize immediately when I realize I'm doing it. But I think I definitely look for, in staffing and in the tour manager production side, the ability to apologize. Probably not like, I get it if you're going to lose it, because I've lost it, and we're always in the shitty positions. Like, we get shat on 24/7. But the ability to apologize and not turn it into an ego thing, but rather just I was tired, or like, I'm the tour manager of the headliner and you guys have really not given us the headliner experience, but I get why you didn't. That's something I would look for in both staff and then staff I'm interacting with. Like, our industry is chaotic, and it's always going to be chaotic, and we have to do a million positions. And if someone sat me behind a desk from in a 9-to-5 position, my brain would explode. But I reckon there'd be few 9-to-5 jobs I couldn't do, because what we have to learn in our positions is literally everything. we know how to handle all forms of chaos and kind of everything from, I can drive a forklift, I can balance a budget, I can help stop a crowd at the front of Astroworld when they're desperate to get in. Like we know how to play every situation, and when you're looking for staff, that's what you look for in them. And I guess the ability to apologize means no ego. Trying to find someone that, like, we can't help it. We do sometimes have that ego, but the ability to apologize for the ego when it comes out, I think, is a really big thing.
Matt doesn't have that.
Oh, motherfucker. No, I think that's a really good answer. So basically what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to say that succinctly, the qualifications, no, but that's how we arrive at a good answer, right? So the qualifications are almost taken for granted. Like, there are a lot of people out there who have done the jobs. If you're in that position, you need to have the qualification.
Yeah.
But so the characteristic that you're looking for is humility, right?
Yeah.
You were looking for somebody who can set aside their ego and say, hey, we're in this together. Let's work it out. Like, I'm a hothead. Sometimes I can be a hothead, motherfucker. I know you're looking at me thinking I'm the fucking hothead. Yeah. Sometimes it's my job to be a hothead. I mean, sometimes it's my job. Sometimes I'm doing it because I'm put in a bad situation and I'm stressed out about it, and I might blow up at somebody. But sometimes it's actually my responsibility to blow up at somebody in order to get what I need for the artist that I'm there with. But at the same time, to go back later and say, listen,
Would you
I
apologize?
didn't mean to be a dick.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I needed to see that happen right then. And if it came out the wrong way, I'm sorry for that. We're all here together. We're all trying to do our job. We're all trying to look out for our respective client, health and well-being and integrity of the event, et cetera, et cetera.
When was the last time you apologized?
I apologize to Emily every time I see her. I apologize to Emily for actually hiring her into a job that she was vastly overqualified for just 2 weeks ago. So there, motherfucker.
We had a great time.
Is that right, Emily?
It is very correct. You definitely did.
But if she didn't know you, she'd be like, nah, I'm good. She did it because she rocks with you. Like, it's about, this industry is about relationships.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a relationship with her and you said, hey, can you do this? She's like, I'm good. Corona or not, I'm good.
She did it because Meg was like, just throw this guy a bone and fucking do it.
I just said that.
Relationships.
We know each other's personalities. I had a very interesting experience a couple of days ago on the show I just finished with one thing I think we're starting to see a lot in hip hop coming through is, I mean, it's funny because it used to be in like girl pop and now it's in hip hop. Artists with their mothers as their managers.
Oh God,
Momagers.
Yeah, I had a momager 4 days ago in an inside studio shoot over a piece of pizza. I had to stand for 20 minutes and to get absolutely dressed down by this momager who used essentially told me that because my accent wasn't American, I obviously didn't understand America.
There you go.
I in my head, the first thing I thought of was maybe it's just because this is, that. But you obviously, I get it. It's your daughter and she's your everything. But this must be your first act, because anyone that knows me, and generally these days, everyone I work with, I know, knows that my accent doesn't mean I'm not American, or doesn't mean I don't understand America. And also my accent is probably wired to sound a little bit harsher than other people. My accent is harsh sounding, but it was this insane moment over a piece of pizza.
What was wrong with the pizza?
Well, COVID times, you cannot take an individual piece of pizza out of a box. Right. Otherwise, that whole box is yours. And it was our crew pizza. And the crew were 5 hours on overtime on meal penalty. So I ordered them dinner and they came out and started opening the pizzas. And I was like, hey, can I just get you to hold up? I'll get you a pizza. Because they obviously didn't understand. They were pulling pieces out of every box. And we had a pizza per crew member. So it meant crew wasn't going to eat. And they flipped.
That's a huge budget you were working with.
Huge budget.
Was this a WIH gig then that you were doing?
No,
Was
I was on production. It's just everyone in production has to understand COVID liability and what you can and can't do when you're feeding your crew. And that is all crew on all shows now, especially when we go back to festivals, unless they come up with something new, is catering will never be what catering is again.
Yes.
I know, right? Everyone's super excited.
I don't fuck with catering anyway.
But basically what that means is box meals is what you're saying,
meals.
right?
A lot of
meals.
waste. Lots of waste.
Kyle, you going to be okay with that?
A lot of cleanliness, because nasty
No.
bastards.
So, but how do we
we've-
do that then? How do we do that in a way that
Exactly.
isn't? How do we do that in a way
You could
that
do serve
isn't
meals.
disrespectful to the environment? That
Well,
doesn't
You just can't you
create
serve
too
the
much
meals?
waste.
In some places you can serve the meal if you're like if it's a food service serving the meal, handling it
Behind
to the person.
behind
like behind
the
a glass,
plastic or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
the system is.
I mean, it's
That
gonna
can be,
depend-
but of course
it's
it
going to be state by
immediately
state.
shoots up the cost, though, and of course that's going to. But again, it is producing a lot of waste, obviously.
That's
So, you know.
unfortunate.
It is. Festivals have spent a good part of 15 years getting themselves to be as green as possible. And now we've got no choice but to go back to being as wasteful
Well,
as
with
we
all the
used to
paper
be.
products,
And food quality is going to
green.
go down too,
Yep.
because it's just not the same experience.
You got paper straws, you got paper cardboard, paper boxes. Now they put everything in. That's very green. Straw.
We should get
straw
Shelley Lynn back here
The
and
straw
ask her.
Creates a lot
disintegrates.
of
We
waste.
should talk to
The
Shelley
straw
Lynn about it.
disintegrates
No,
before you
I
finish
told,
drinking.
I showed Christine.
Yeah, it's cool.
I was on a gig 2 weeks, and Shelley Lynn did our catering every day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, after show food, and there were these amazing boxes. And what they did was, after if we ate while we're in rehearsal, whatever, we put our boxes to the side, we put all the little plastic containers to the side, and they recycled all that. So we didn't just throw them away; they took them and then
That's
they
good.
recycled them. But it was a box, it had like little plastic containers and all that stuff, and they recycled them. But I mean, it was still like secure. It's your box. You take it. Here you go. You eat it. You're done. You put it back.
There you go. It's green.
There it is.
Self-chew.
And it was phenomenal. Let me tell you something.
That's what's great.
Amazing.
Yeah,
It
that's
was-
awesome to hear.
That is exciting.
I would look forward to having like an extra box to take home for dinner. It was amazing.
That's
I'm
awesome.
trying to remember how she described their philosophy, like long and deep or whatever. What was the word?
Pimp
past
Pin past it. Pin past it.
No,
That was
no,
our
that
favorite
was
one.
her. Well, pimping past it. That was
That
her
was our
philosophy.
favorite one. That was the
Yes.
favorite quote from that show. Pimp past
I'm pretty
it.
sure that's what we called that episode.
Now that would be a
actually. I
good
definitely-
T-shirt. Come on,
Pimpin'
now.
Put
past
that
it.
on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm.
That-
Boom! I'm saying that one.
I like that one. Sam,
Yeah.
get on it.
Come on, Sam. Let's do it.
Step it up. No,
Ice-T's
I'm
gonna
trying to
holla
think
at
of
you.
what she said though. Yeah, fuck. It's not coming to me. Maybe Sam can look it up.
But
and,
also
chime
realizing that she'll incur more costs. I mean, it creates catering becomes a much more expensive thing all the way around.
It's
And,
tough.
I think this is going to be one of the challenges when we get back on the road in any real sense of the word, not just in the obvious festival environment, but just everyday touring. It's going to be a
Yeah.
big hassle.
I mean, there's so many things that have gone away. Water stations.
Oh,
Can't touch my water station anymore, so can't have
that
it.
doesn't make sense. I mean,
No.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very
Huh.
strange. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know when touring buses will be allowed to come back because those bunks ain't 6 feet. So I don't know if you ever want to be made to quarantine with that group of people, and then that becomes your group of.
Yeah, you become a pod. These
Yeah.
things I've been doing lately, they've been making pods. So because you're in this group, you're a pod now.
Yeah.
And then you all get tested as a pod every day.
Right.
And temperature
Yeah.
checks.
And those are the people
pod.
you work with, and you can
Those are the people you
only
work
be
with.
with those
can
people.
only
This
be with
was
those people.
this was in Digby's original,
Yeah.
proposal for coming back, where it was working in those little clusters. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that. But I have so many other questions and thoughts on the way buses need to come back in terms of the cleaning, in terms of the filtration, in terms of the
Yeah.
cleaning of the sheets, in terms of replacement of mattresses.
What about the
on
curtains?
tour to
The
tour.
curtains
I mean,
alone. What about the curtain? That
There-
curtain
I mean,
that divides
yeah.
us from the
everything
rest
is
of the
going to need
bus.
to be washed, sanitized.
Every
Just
day.
that much more free.
But yeah, I think we adopt the European model. I mean, like think about the U.S. versus the
Where
European model.
where the
You get
driver
your-
is all over it.
Yeah, the driver's all over it. He's washing the sheets. He's replacing everything. Everything's
He's
getting
making your
clean.
coffee or tea in the morning, for crying out loud.
In his chaps. You remember Kevin?
Wait, what?
I missed that.
We had a driver that was very.
Was he German?
What was Kevin? You remember Kevin?
Well, he saw you in your robe and slippers, and he was
Kevin?
like, "Well, I need to wear my chaps."
All I know is that he was very relaxed with our party.
But this is the same tour where you wear your robe and your slippers. Am I right?
It is, but it has nothing to do with his chaps.
He smelled your eucalyptus, and he thought you were.
It was the aromatherapy.
It had nothing to do with that.
You can't do what we do.
It had nothing to do with that. We even told him, it's like, when you come
Emily,
out
have
from
you
the
ever
front, you have to
seen
put your shirt
Banks? Emily, have you ever seen? Wait, in his what? He was just.
He wouldn't wear
You're talking
shirts?
about he was walking around in chaps and nothing else. Is that what?
Just assless chaps.
No,
Ass out, no shirt on, just
so
walking
that
around.
was that. I remember I told you I had to go back to the bus that one time. The bus was parked like away, and there was like a party going on in our bus. Remember, we kept waking up. It was like, who's drinking our liquor? Like our liquor.
Yes, I do remember that.
And I went back to the bus one night to go get some stuff. We finished the Brits, and I was like, "Where's the buses?" And we're like, "Oh, it's down the street or whatever."
Oh, that was terrible too.
And I'm walking to the buses, and I see the lights pulse, and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" Push the code in. Our driver and ass out with a couple other drivers having a full on fucking party on the bus, and he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm out of here. Now it explains it. But we had to tell him early on, he would get up from the front, complete bare-chested, just in his skivvies and his boxers, his tighty-whities, walking and making his morning cup of coffee. We're like, Kevin, you got to put on some pants. You got to put on a shirt when you come out.
That's some shit.
Yeah.
It was rough.
That's some shit.
That's the story.
So and you're convinced that the robe and the slippers have nothing to do with that then? That's your position then? Emily, have you ever seen Banks in his robe and his slippers?
No.
No, I know. We've never. No,
We're going to have to fix that. We're going to have to fix that.
I can go get my robe. It's in the other room.
I am a firm believer of a robe.
I have a selection of robes. I can go model. I have a selection of robes.
A robe
A
selection.
selection of robes.
I have a selection of robes.
You must have big
This
cupboards.
is why we call him Banks.
Fabulous.
And
Taylor?
Sam, by the way, did turn up the Shelley Lynn
yeah, wow.
directive
Don't bring it
D,
out now. Don't bring it out now. Not now.
No,
Not after
now?
the chaps conversation. Not after the chaps conversation. Well, go for it. Open the door.
say that after
I mean, we
talking about
can't
some chaps.
leave our audience hanging like that and just not share. Deep and narrow. That's what Shelley Lynn called it. Deep and narrow. What, Kyle?
Wow. You gotta let that breathe, but you already said it.
God. Oh my God.
Well, y'all are the ones being all pervy about it, like one has anything to do with the other.
I'm sorry.
You talking about ass out, and then you say something's deep and narrow. That's rough.
I hadn't even put that together until y'all started going off on your crazy
Quit
whacked
trying
out
to
tangent.
act all humble and Amityville. Your ass knew exactly what you were saying.
Oh my God.
Amityville.
But going back to our original thing, every tour is going to have a COVID officer, at least a couple COVID
I agree.
officers.
Correct.
Yep.
We're going to have European standards where we clean the sheets and everything every day, and we have to stick to our pods. That's it. You're going to have to stick with your people, get tested every day, temperature checks 3 to 4 times a day, just like we're doing on these shoots right now. And we'll be fine.
They got to get these tests together. They need to quit killing people.
Mm-hmm.
You mean as far as like the brain?
Yeah, touching the brain.
Yeah, the brain scrape, the daily brain scrape. So let's talk to Emily about that now. Actually, so Emily,
did it penetrate the memory?
Back on track.
Wait, hold on. Let Kyle
They
speak.
gave her a test, and instantly her nose started bleeding, like instantly, and she was dead the next morning.
No.
Are you serious?
How old was this woman?
I'm 46. She was maybe 40.
My goodness.
Are
Wow.
you serious?
Have they done an autopsy?
She was a background singer for one of the artists I work with.
Oh my gosh. So
So
young.
yeah, I mean, literally, why it was like as soon as the lady pulled the swab out, her nose just gushing with blood.
Oh.
Instant.
So-
It wasn't like it was later or it was instant.
Was it
Oh,
a
you'd be fine. You'd be
pre-existing
fine.
condition?
No, she didn't have nothing wrong with her. She thought she was feeling sick. She didn't. And the results came out. She didn't even have COVID, but she just had just a regular cold.
But okay, so that goes back to a lot of these shoots now are having 60 people on set and one person who's doing the swab, and you're trying to rush through it. It's like that takes
No,
time.
but this
Well,
happened
this
at
is
the hospital. She went to the doctor.
Oh.
so that's some
And
shit. And Kyle, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
I
that's
apologize.
terrible.
That is a terrible story.
Even when I got mine, like, yo, you deep. No, you have to go. That's it. Yo,
But-
you deep as
well,
shit.
Okay, so let's get to the question then. So Emily, the other company that you're working for, WYH, is a consulting and or testing service, and we saw firsthand a couple weeks ago working together, and of course you deal with this much more frequently on a day-to-day basis, that the hardest thing about a job now is getting everybody tested in an efficient manner in order to get them on site to work and then to continue managing the process and doing the regular testing. Like, what is the future there? What can we do to improve the efficiency? Is testing getting better and to the point that we're going to be able to do, the spit test instead of the 3 centimeter test or the 5 centimeter brain scrape like Kyle's talking about? The shit that, it like every time I get that shit stuck up my nose, I'm bawling like a fucking baby for at least a couple minutes after. Like, it just, the way it hits me, like my sinuses go wild every time. Like, how is that process going to evolve to a point that it's manageable on a day-to-day basis with tours, with festivals, one-off events, whatever?
I mean, I haven't had to experience the 5 centimeter one, and I don't know many places that are doing it, so I hope none of you undergo that again. For starters, that's awful. I think that the types of testing and the changes in testing is literally weekly new information is coming out. So I do think we are evolving towards a point of, I mean, there's at the moment, there's the newest testing they're looking at is 5-minute rapid testing. So that will change the music industry and travel completely if that comes out and is FDA approved, because that starts to create the ability to rapid test everyone as they come into airports and before they get on planes, starts to rapid test people as they come in for concerts. I think different productions in different states are using different types of testing, which we went through, Matt, with the 2 different types of testing on the event that we just did, having to change testing when one was having some hiccups. And I think, unfortunately, it's like anything new in the world, whether it's medical related or beta testing of anything, is we're moving with this as quickly as we can with the knowledge that we have. This is something brand new to everybody. So everyone can only talk about it to the best of their knowledge and also the best of the world knowledge on something, which at this point is 9 months worth of knowledge. That's it. So, what do I think? I think we're going to keep finding out new things every month. And I think the types of testing is going to continue to change. And will we get to a point that we won't have to stick a swab up our nose 5 centimeters at all? I would hope so. Will that happen before a vaccine comes out? I don't know. Will all of this go away because instead a vaccine comes out? Maybe. Like there's too many moving pieces and variables on something that the entire CDC and is working around the clock on just to keep up with and work out to the best of their abilities. Every week, the information from the CDC changes. Something that they told us was 100% last week is possible this week, and then next week is changed again. Like everyone's just doing the best they can at this point.
Would you guys say, since you've been more active than some of us out in the field, have you, in the testing as it has played out, have you found people to be positive? And if so, how have they reacted? Like, how's the whatever event you're doing, how do they react to it? And how does the person, do they still get paid? If that person shows up and it turns out that they're COVID positive, do they still get paid for the gig, but they're not allowed to do the gig? Or how are any of those things playing out?
So we've been lucky. We haven't had anyone on a production side show positive. No.
However, and how many people are you going through a day? Sorry.
That's okay. It depends on what type of testing we're doing, but one of the tests that we do is 9 people at a time, and it takes about 2 to 3 hours per test run. So you can do about 27 in a day.
Okay.
But
so that's really not fast.
It's not, no, but I've been on other shows, not with WRH, but just in production where they're doing the rapid 15-minute testing and they're testing 50, 60, 100 people a day. I haven't been, I've worked quite a bit during COVID. I've been super lucky. I haven't yet been on a site where I've had a production member test positive. I have been there when talent has, but not when production has. But the basic understanding, and I think what everyone's kind of going through, is that should a case test positive and an event get shut down, you still get paid out. Is currently the direction everything is going on, is that you still get paid. Whether if you are on a site, and like this is just like conversations I'm having with people, everyone's looking at it differently, but it's like, how do you as a company make it fair or make it possible to keep working? Is it like, well, if someone tests positive but they're not within close proximity, or they're in a building that has 2 HVAC systems and they are on one side with one HVAC system and they test positive, and people on the other side, and the doctor on call says that people can keep working, you still have to leave it up to production's decision that if they don't feel comfortable, it's their choice not to work, but they still get paid. Like there's so many new additional variables because of COVID that, just like in catering, make everything so much more expensive. Mm-hmm. Like
and you hire.
Go.
So I was just gonna say, like, are you keeping? I hate to say substitutes in the background, but like for certain positions, are you keeping? Because are you guys considering? We need to make sure somebody's on, standing by for that spot in case.
I mean, I haven't. That would be a question I would ask Matt, because you had to hire a crew on the last one. I think. I guess on my last 3 shows, I've been hiring video crews and LDs as well.
Let me jump in there.
I was going to say funny because we haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, let me jump in and add something. I'm not even sure that the question is a matter of replacing that one person. I think the question is, does the entire production need to get shut down?
It has. I had that happen.
Because if that person goes into a facility, they've then contaminated the site and exposed everyone that's working. Mm-hmm. So talk about, does everyone get paid out? I mean, I think that that's a much bigger and more complicated question. And I think that, Emily, you've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate that I haven't had to deal with that yet either. Banks, you're saying you have had that situation?
Yeah, just had it not too long ago. The things I've been doing lately is we've been getting tested every day before we even go inside the building. And it was at the start of the load-in after rehearsal. We've been doing rehearsals. Everybody's been getting tested every day. We went to the venue to load in for production, and somebody tested positive coming in. Now, it was a new crew member coming in for the production, not somebody that we had rehearsed with, but the other guys had prepped gear with them in the shop and all that. So when that happened, they shut everything down, told everybody to go home. We then went to the doctor later on that day and got the brain scrape at the doctor, everybody. And then we had to wait, find out everybody was negative, and then we came back to the facility like a couple days later, got tested again at the facility, and then we were allowed to start production again.
And Emily, how many days is it that this thing can incubate, they're saying? I'm looking at you as the expert here.
I'm not Rory. We have an amazing gentleman with our company.
Rory was no joke.
We all know Rory.
Yeah,
Rory, he had us hemmed up. He's a little pit bull.
He's vigilant in his task. He's very task oriented.
He's a wealth of knowledge. Incubation can be 5 to 10 days.
So for Chris to say that they shut down for 2 days, I mean, that still begs questions, right?
Yeah.
Suspect, motherfucker, suspect.
Yeah. So that's what they did with you guys is what it kind of sounds like they did. I'm unsure. It all comes down to contact tracing because
Right.
I think most places it's always test before you enter the building.
Yeah.
Right.
And all the people that had come in contact with him had tested negative on the morning test.
They should
then when they
still
went to the doctor later on,
they should have been
I know,
replaced. Every one of those people should have been
I know.
replaced.
They should have been
and that
quarantined
gear
for
needed to be
14
wiped.
days.
Yeah, well, at least 10, right? They're saying at least 10.
And now it's 10. But yeah. They should have been quarantined because that's the last time that we had a positive. Everyone that we contact traced everyone they've been in contact with, and they were called and told to sit at home on their pretty little butts for the next 10 days. But
Getting
no,
paid.
we haven't had replacement crews. It's funny. For my directors and for myself, we don't need to replace ourselves. If we're quarantined, everyone's remote directing at the moment. But I didn't have replacement A1s, LDs, camera guys, none of that. And it would have been as simple as just trading in because these people are in contact with nobody from the rest of our team until post-testing.
That was for Kyle, not for you, Emily.
Oh, I was okay.
So Kyle just sent us a text on the side saying that we're running long here and he's got other shit to do. So blowing him up for that. But that was for him. See, and
all right.
But Emily,
Kyle is busy.
He go
He's
clean
going
his
shooting.
gun.
He's going back to the range.
Back to the range.
Chris knows that. I mean, Chris, I had to use Chris for some Luya the other day. So I mean, we trying to get it in.
We all got stuff. I got. Yeah. I'm sitting here ignoring emails as we're sitting.
I had to move my whole Luya to a new Luya.
Yeah.
And Chris was part of that Luya movement. So
yeah, I got.
Emily, if you don't know what they're talking about, that's hallelujah.
Yeah, no, I guessed because I was like, God, hallelujah, okay. Yeah, on that God tip.
You getting it now? There it is. Anywho, sorry to infringe upon your very precious time, motherfuckers.
I mean, we're not infringing, but, when you plus 30 minutes,
Plus 30.
Yeah.
We are enjoying a delightful conversation
and I agree.
with our amazing guests.
And it's a great conversation. Nonetheless, I got shit to do.
You gotta go get your nose tickled again.
I ain't want to get my nose fondled any longer. It's just terrible.
See,
you haven't experienced that yet. But when it's deep, it's real. You don't mind them going deep into the nose like that?
Have you had the brain scrape?
I've had a brain scrape. The brain scrape, which is the 5 centimeters, I'm not about that. 3 centimeters.
Even the 3 centimeter is a brain scrape. Like, that's some shit.
And the 3 centimeters in both nostrils. That's
for 10 seconds. Count it out.
Yeah, the swirling that you talked about. That swirling thing.
Yeah, that swirling shit is whack.
It's not okay.
You feeling violated? Just thinking about it?
Your nose has been fondled. Yes, it's disrespectful.
Yeah, I feel like men really struggle with it a lot more.
I have allergies.
Okay. It's that whole pain threshold thing.
No, I have allergies. I have allergies.
Wow.
That's what they all say.
She said you had a delicate nose. That's a cold piece.
She was talking to you too, MF.
Yeah, she did. She did. Yeah, she did. And I'd accept that because I have a baby nose, and yes, anything tickling my baby ass nose is rough. I don't like it.
Okay. On that note, Emily, you've been amazing. We appreciate you. Before we let you go, we always do our series of quick hits. Your first tour, what was it?
Oh, shoot. Rudimental Australia tour. Rudimental, a 9-piece band out of the UK.
Yeah, I know Rudimental.
Yeah. You don't know Rudimental?
I said I know them.
Come on,
yes.
Matt. Yeah, I do.
Matt doesn't know Rudimental?
Apparently not.
I forget more than I know at this point.
You lost your international love. You're a regional motherfucker.
I think
passport's getting revoked.
It's the island.
Tour. They were my first individual artist tour. I'd done a lot of festivals before them, but first individual artist tour.
Copy that. What about your favorite tour? What was that?
They were also probably my favorite artists to tour with. They were very fun. I toured with them 3 times. They were great.
Okay. Single best moment or experience that you wish to share with us?
First music festival I directed in America, Air and Style 2017.
What was it?
Okay.
Air and Style, the
Yeah.
snowboarding and music festival in LA.
Sean White, yeah.
Yeah. First time holding the title of a festival director. That was pretty special.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Keep going. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I said I'd been in the country for a year, so I'd exponentially grown in my production roles. So I was very happy.
And well deserved. So, my favorite question: if there is any one thing about the industry you'd like to see us doing better, what is it?
Oh, good question. Less stage clashes, and that comes from being a fan. No, from a work side, better entrance experiences. America-wide entrance experience to music festivals in America are abysmal.
Interesting. Okay.
In what sense?
There's no enjoyment. The queues are awful. Most of the entrances are ugly. There's I've been to festivals all over the world where every part of the festival should be an experience. Entrance, the festival, and the exit. And I feel like America really misses the mark on that.
I'm going to point out that the majority of people who answer that question refer to something that happens behind the scenes, something about the treatment of crew and what have you. And I appreciate that your answer was actually something to improve the experience for the fans. I like that.
I mean, you ask anyone about a music festival, if they had a bad experience leaving it, that's generally what they relate to. Because the things you remember most are the first moment and the last moment. So the entrance, which is also the exit of a festival, I think needs more. Well, look at it more. I've also been through my fair share of awful festival entrance moments. So that's probably why it sticks with me the most.
Okay. So last question, we'll get you out of here on this. Parting shots, shout outs, what do you got?
Oh. Gosh, shout out to everyone that's still trying to work through this and grinding and waiting for this to be over, because it will be eventually. So stick out there. And shout out to my bosses, Meg and Leo, for taking a chance on me when I moved here to America and keeping me on board. And congratulations on leaving me in LA and moving to New Hampshire on the East Coast.
My neck of the woods.
Yeah, I'll come visit you guys soon. But forever shout out to them. They have looked after me and supported me through my now 6 years in this country. So I'm forever grateful.
Well, Emily, thank you. Kyle, motherfucker, anything from you?
Shoot straight.
Banks.
Wow. Vote.
Yeah.
Please vote.
Venetian
Wash your
Aquatic
hands.
Club.
Vote because I can.
Dallas.
Yep, vote, and wash your hands, but definitely vote. Let's get out of this mess.
Well, I'm with all that, and I also want to give a shout out to all of our fans, our listeners. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you being with us, and can't wait to do it again next week. So on that note, I thank you all, and good night.